Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here today. How are you all doing? Please go ahead and share this message with your friends and family members and go and invite as many people as possible. Tag your friends, tag your family members, tag your relatives, invite them because today we're having family review, family series review. We're going to talk about family today. Now, that's not the topic we've been talking about too many times on DSA Family. I wonder why not too many people have been listening to my family series. But today, we have the opportunity to go and because so much treasure, so much treasure over there in that family series. So and it's so sad and it's such a shame that not too many people have explored that for themselves. And not too many, maybe because there are too many, because it is the largest, it is the biggest series I've ever done. Over 100 series in there, over 100 messages, over 100 videos, 119 videos inside there. So I guess that it might be a little bit cumbersome for a lot of people to explore. Maybe that is the reason why not too many people have been coming forward to volunteer to do the family series review. So, but we are doing the family series review, and this family series review today is going to be done by a real coin. You will see the person, right? African coin. You will just be fascinated. So this is an opportunity for you to also be able to fellowship with a beautiful soul and somebody that you are going to really enjoy, very eloquent, very brilliant. But what even surprised me most is that she said she had been able to go through all the 119 messages in that series. And that's a lot. I talk about ladies, I talk about men, I talk about young girls before they married, I talk about when they are married, I talk about giving birth, I talk about being there for your husband, I talk about the role of the husband, the role of the wife, I talk about all kind of things, children, raising up children, children with parents, children without parents, girls with parents, boys without parents. That series is like it's like an encyclopedia, family encyclopedia. It's like an encyclopedia on family in that family series. So, but today we have Queen Patty. It's Queen Pat. And she's here with us to do the series. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Pastor Sunday. How are you?
Look at that headgear. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm great. How are you doing today?
I am just excited. I wake up happy, so I'm happy as usual. How are you?
How are the children? How are the kids?
Ooh, I've got geniuses on my hands, two geniuses. So my hands are always very full. They're doing very well, thank you.
They've taken after their mom, huh?
Just like their mama. No drama.
Why? What gave you the audacity to want to review this family series? That's a huge challenge in your hand right there.
Ooh, the family series is mega. It is big. And what gave me the audacity, number one, was crisis. Number two was trouble. Number three is I was looking for answers and I wanted something with depth. I wanted something practical. I wanted something with solution. I wanted something that would challenge me, something that will make me work. I didn't want answers that were easy to come by because they don't remain, but I wanted something that would make me work, make me sweat, and achieve results. So that's why I looked for the family series.
Beautiful. So, what did you discover when you began to really go deep into this series?
So, to give a little bit of background in answering your question, I was at a point in my life where I was in nightmare, in the middle of a nightmare. So, I was in a marriage and I was depressed, I was suicidal, I was at my lowest point, and I was a mother. At the same time, I had two little ones, and they were under the age of 2. So I had so much on my hands, and the marriage was very toxic and abusive, so it was coming to an end. And so I was just feeling helpless. I was just feeling so low, so empty. And the most painful part of that was how I was feeling on the inside. But no one could see that because I was a pastor's wife. I was a wife of a personality, so people don't see that. They don't notice your inside. So I knew that I was dying inside, even though I looked alive on the outside. So I needed something that could help me. Being in that position of pastor's wife, you have very limited access or limit to help. There are limited people who can see you, who can see your soul, who can see what you go through, who can see that you need help sometimes. So I needed something that could help me come out of this depression, come out of this, this pit, this rut. So what gave me the audacity and the guts to dig deep was what I was going through. And I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. And when I opened up myself to God through that series, my life did not remain the same.
I'm sure that I'm sure that before you were married, you were young, you were a vibrant, jovial, lively young lady before you married. Is that true or
Yes,
not?
it was. That's very true. At the age of 22, I had completed my first degree, and I had lived in Asia for 3 years on my own. So I had been independent for over 3 years. And I was now, when I completed my studies, I was offered the opportunity to go into master's class or to start tutoring at the university. So I took up the opportunity to tutor at the age of 22. That was my first job. So that would tell you the mind I had. That would tell you, how I had high brain power, and I was a girl who's really pushing, and I was devoted to getting my PhD at the age of 30.
Wow.
That was me. I was like a steam engine. I was pushing, I was going. I was naive on the other side. I was a bit naive about marriage, about love, because I was an academic and I didn't have time for boys. So this was my first relationship that I went into, and I wasn't ready. I was not ready. So
Is it
I
just
hit
that
rock.
you is it just that you are not ready, or is it, I think it's more of the illusion that is out there about marriage and about relationship. I don't think it's just because you are not ready, but just because life itself and the world we are living in is more of the world of an illusion that does not adequately prepare ladies for what the real life that they will encounter in relationships.
That's spot on, because I was just reviewing a topic that was done yesterday actually by a group of women who've designed a book for children, and they've gone as far as from 5 years old. If you look at the story of Cinderella, or you look at the story of Rapunzel in children's books, it always talks about a helpless damsel, a helpless lady who's rescued by a prince, swept off her feet, and they live happily ever after. He doesn't talk about the work involved. He doesn't talk about the girl building a life for herself independently. He doesn't talk about, her having goals and missions beyond love and marriage. So that illusion starts, from childhood as in this world.
So, but what I'm hearing also, because you said that was your first relationship, so you are meeting a man for the first time, you had kept yourself all your life, you are doing well by yourself. Why should anybody go to ruin that just because of a man? I don't get it. What is it? Is it because of that deception that a prince or marriage is a kind of a heaven on earth? I personally, if I were a lady right now with what I know that it's much more preferable to keep that lifestyle, keep yourself whole without being damaged in a relationship, and then keep yourself goal oriented, passionate, and ambitious, just like you were before you met a man. Go ahead and fulfill yourself, your calling, and your mission in life, your calling, your purpose in life by becoming who you wanted to become. I think that is actually a better perspective for a lady than the perspective of exchanging all that for the uncertain world, or very uncertain world of marriage. Or maybe I'm too radical.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. That was me about almost 10 years ago. And now that I'm single, I wouldn't trade this single life for anything. I have
Yeah,
made a commitment to
but it's
myself.
good. It's a good one that you wouldn't trade your present single status for anything. But I am thinking, why should you have to come to that after so much bruises and after so much trauma and after you've been damaged? I mean, I could just picture 10 years ago the girl that was totally whole, that was totally self-confident, that was totally vibrant and radiant and brilliant and and an achiever. Why should that be damaged? I'm seeing you and I'm picturing a bouquet of flower where everything is fresh, nice aroma, nice smell, and everything coming so glamorous, looking so sharp. Now, then you say, okay, let me go and throw this bouquet of flower in the road, let some cars, pass over it, over there, and then let me put it back in the vase again. I mean, that
This is a perfect analogy. Perfect
it
analogy.
is going to be almost impossible to create that perfect picture of the bouquet that was there before the cars ran over it.
That's absolutely on point. In the world we live in, our background, our African background,
Okay.
there is just pressure. Once you are done with university, I mean, my goal, I was not settling for anything until I got to my PhD. That's when I would consider probably slowing down academically. But once I finished my first degree, I was in Asia, I was in Malaysia, and I didn't want to come back because I wanted to further my studies. And background, and our African background, unfortunately, there's that pressure. There is that pressure to settle down, that you're now of age. You've got an education, and you're now in your 20s. I was 23 at the time, so you're 23. You're of age, so it's good. And then as well, apart from background in terms of family, in terms of African background, your friends around you are in relationships. They are with someone, so you think, okay, should I and venture into this? And I felt clueless as well. I thought, I am sort of on board with everything else and not this. So there was that desire to want to explore this. So I can say there's a fantasy, like a false mirage, like a mirage, that this is something you need to conquer as well, but not really. And then African background pressure from family that you need to settle down. You've done your studies now. You now need to prepare yourself for marriage.
Will you say that people are not totally truthful especially to the girls, in the sense that they don't really open up so much about what the child will face in real life relationship? Do you think enough truth is being said about the reality? I kind of have an impression that the picture that is painted from even the married people outside to the outside world is a lot of deception hidden there. And so a lot of young girls look at pictures of couples together and they look at the glamours, they look at the smiles and the embraces and the holding hand together, but they don't see through that all the conflicts in within and all the disagreements and all the quarrels and all those things that the world is not seeing. And then the young girl becomes deceptive, thinking it's just that picture that is going to wait for them, that is awaiting them, not before they get to a crude awakening.
You're spot on. You're spot on. I believe it was only after that bouquet of flowers, that analogy you gave, after that bouquet of flowers had been run over repeatedly on a highway, that I finally got to discover what the truth is. So I never really had that experience of actually having someone open up, be vulnerable, and talk about marriage in fullness, in the fullness of its blessings, in the fullness of its challenges, and the fullness of the scope of life as a woman. What happens to you when you walk down the aisle? What happens to your goals and your ambitions? What happens to you as an individual? What happens when the children come in? There are things that you can never do once you have children. You just simply can't do that. You can't backpack and travel the world. It's difficult to get back into studies. So no one were opened up and made themselves vulnerable enough to talk about that. I never had that opportunity, unfortunately. So I only learned it from the other side. So to answer your question, yes, there is a deception. And as well, in our African background, there seems to be some kind of pressure to put up a picture or to put up an image, a happy image, and an image, and you are sort of praised as an African woman if you are smiling, you're looking good on the outside and keeping your drama together, and you're not really talking about, the downs and the lows, and you're just pretending that everything's okay and marriage is good. So this is how marriage is presented to us as young girls by the older generation. But sometimes I wish we could break that cycle and sit the young girls down and say, these are the challenges, these are the changes, and these are some of the things that you can never get back once you go into marriage. And one of those is your education.
Do you know I actually have 2 girls? And that's exactly what I'm telling my girls. Forget about marriage. Marriage is only the last option. And marriage is only possible and is going to be considered only after everything else is accomplished. And don't even think of it. Talk less of bringing a boy to the house. Don't even think of it for yourself. Don't even give a room to it until you've gotten to where you want to go to, or at least you have laid the foundation for the future that you want to build. Once you are satisfied by yourself for your life, then you could then think about it. If I still want to consider marriage or not, that's what I tell my girls. Forget about it. You can have it up there somewhere, but only after you are satisfied and you got into where you want to get to in life. So and I make them right now when they are not yet in their teen years, they are not yet in their 20s yet. I made them to go listen to all my teachings, not the ones with children and with married, but all my teachings about girls, about ladies, about girls, about men, about all those teachings there that relate to young ladies. And they have to give exams. They have to write papers to me, for me to know. So after, and I have to examine them and question them. And when I question them when they finish listening to those series, they just said, they just don't want, they're just set free from all the deception that this is an easy road. And I think maybe I should ask you that question. Do you think that it could have been a great blessing for you if you had come across this package of family series that is there, this old material that is in that series when you were 21 or 20?
I'm so happy to hear about what you've done to your girls and for them. You don't know how much heartbreak you've saved them from, and you don't know how much you've propelled them into their future by doing just that. And to answer your question, in life, I don't really do regrets, but I only have one regret in life. And my only regret is that I met you at the stage that I met you and not before. That's the only thing I look in the past and wish I can change, because this is what I needed to hear. I didn't even need to meet you in person. I just needed probably one. The one that touched my heart the most was the episode with the title, "You are not a head teacher or headmaster, and your wife is not a schoolgirl." That particular one I highly recommend because it goes into depth. It goes into depth and describes a girl. Because in our culture, our African culture, you find that majority of the older men go for the younger girls. And they go for the younger girls because they're a bit naive. They haven't really developed in their adult life, in their careers. They're not settled as a person. They're still developing. So they want to sort of mold that person into what they want and sort of take ownership and control. It's a way of manipulating.
So the man wants to be the schoolmaster and wants a schoolgirl, really.
That's it. A schoolgirl who can be a maid and do everything in the home. A schoolgirl who can also be educated so that she can bring in money and he doesn't have to then take full responsibility. And a schoolgirl who then is just quiet and literally does everything that he wants. So you customize her, you manipulate her, and you sort of develop her and mold her and make her into what you want to be. So that's the tricky side of it. So what you're saying is true. So for me, that was the turning point. When I listened to that particular episode, I was like, I'm done. That's it for me. That is it for me. I'm taking my life back. And I locked myself up for 20 days. I locked myself up for 20 days, after I left my marital home. And I started to listen to that teaching over and over for 20 days. And after the 20 days, oh my goodness, you couldn't catch me. Prior to the 20 days, I was not working. I had the children, they were young. I didn't know where I was going. The marriage was over. But my life turned around in 20 days. I didn't need holy oil or holy water. I didn't need special prayers or anything like that. All I did is lock myself up. I put my phone off and I just took my Bible and I listened to this series and I started to let it sink into my brains. And I started to get pen and paper and design my life, redesign my life, reconstruct my life. And my life turned around within 3 weeks. So I got a job. I literally took my children to an interview because I had no childcare. And when I got there, the person interviewing me was in shock. They're like, what are you doing here with children? And I said, I'm a determined woman and I'm here to get exactly what I want. And, they interviewed me. They looked at my background. They looked at, my educational background and what I had done before. And they said, we can't offer you the job that you applied for. We can only give you something higher because you're overqualified for this. So I got a job, and I was on my last 50 pounds. I was on zero. I had nothing. And I literally built my life from scratch. I got a nanny. I got someone to stay with my children. All right. And then my mother flew all the way from Africa, went on a plane, came to my house, and she came to stand by me. And she showed me what motherhood is all about. Motherhood is about sacrificing everything and protecting your girl from the world, from everything around you. So my mom's literally quit her job. She came all the way and was with me for 6 months. And she was just drilling on me every single day. You can do this. You can do this. Rebuild your life. You can do this. So I would come back from work and my mom would just, literally put me on her chest and she would just speak into my life. You can do this. Rebuild your life. You can do this. Don't give up. Every single day for 6 months. And then when I go to bed, I would put the headphones on. I would listen to Pastor Sunday repeatedly every single night. I would be crying. I was like, I'm going to rebuild my life. And my life is going to be better than it has ever been before. Like a joke, I started working. I started earning money. I bought my first car. I got an apartment. And right now, speaking to you, I'm a master's degree student. I am just pushing forward with my life. I'm now majoring in cybersecurity and I'm going forward because you can turn your life around. You can turn your life around. You're the captain of your own life. And so where you say life goes is where it goes. You don't need anyone to lay hands on you. You just need the word of God. Drill it into your brains. Open yourself up and work your butt off. It pays off. That's what I did. And I'm here now and I'm happy.
This segment that you just said, these 10 minutes you just spoke, this could be cut out and put on the video on the internet somewhere and just say what to do if you are going through a divorce, or what to do if your family are just falling apart, what to do to rebuild your life again. It's so powerful.
Thank you. I mean, Pastor Sunday, sometimes one thing I've learned is that I did not know what God had put inside of me. I did not know what God had put inside of me. And unfortunately, it had to go to that, that bouquet of flowers to be run over. But sometimes crisis is a blessing. We don't have to prepare for it. But if you happen to be in crisis, if you happen to find your world and your life upside down and not in the place that you wanted it to be, you have got everything working for you, because that's the perfect opportunity for you to turn it around. Pastor Sunday, right now, my life, my worth, and my future even I have to pinch myself sometimes because I can't believe where I'm going. I can't believe where I'm going because I never imagined this. I never envisioned this. I was just thinking, 30 years old, I'll get my PhD and I'll stop. But now I've got the chance to go deeper. I've got the chance to go deeper and also manage to start to help other women. So there's an organization we've started for women, all right, women that are in marriage or have come out of marriage and don't know what to do. So what I do in that organization, I don't give you a quick fix. We just give you the tools, the practical tools. So we'll point you to jobs, review your CV, get you to rewrite your CV, make it more presentable, refer you to colleges or schools where you can enhance yourself so that you can create money for yourself. You don't have to depend on anyone. Okay, so far I managed to work with four women with children, and just to get them to rebuild their lives. And thanks be to
No,
God,
the
they
way you are
rebuilt their
the way
lives.
you are talking, you are creating an impression as if this is a common thing for women to all of a sudden be single again.
Yes, it's very common. It's very common. 1 in every 2 marriages, Pastor Sunday, will split up. 1 in every 2. 1 in every 2 marriages split up. So this is very
No, you
common.
can't. You don't. I can't believe it.
1 in every 2 marriages split up. 1 in every 2 marriages split up. So
you
this
mean you
happens.
see women, every other woman you see is being battered and been let down and been left alone and has to start her life again.
Yes. In my experience, I even looked around my circle, around my world, around my people, around my friends. And like an infection, this spreads right around. So I have a couple of brilliant friends. I've got a lovely friend I love, and she's a lawyer by profession, and she's like a high flyer. She's met Obama, she's gone places. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. So this is very prevalent. And even in the church, can I bring it home a little bit? Because in the church, it happens a lot. And the heartbreaking thing is, apart from going through the trauma, going through that change, and you trying to rebuild your life, you've got the typical black, unfortunately, sorry to say, the black churches, they will then stigmatize you. They will then, treat you so bad for making that decision of walking away. So you are, having the difficulty of this having happened to you, the marriage has fallen apart and you're dealing with that. You're trying to rebuild your life. You've got the children, and then you've also got the church who are there to remind you how much of you've fallen out of God, or you're not a true Christian because you've divorced, or you're a failure as a woman because you couldn't hold it together, or it's your responsibility if a man cheats. There's all sorts. So they demonize you. They demonize you for walking away. That's the word I was looking for. So you have to deal with all this pressure. Because I had divorced someone who was a pastor. It felt like I also divorced church. So I had multitudes. Until today, I have multitudes, who call me names, who try all sorts to get to me. I had to even involve the police at one stage because it was just getting out of hand. So if I bring it home to the church, 1 in every 2, it happens, but then you have extra work and extra processes to go through because you just have a whole mob of people who are ready to eat your life.
So what you have started, this organization you have started to take care and to support ladies that are all of a sudden with broken homes and broken lives, this could be one of the most important organizations or ministries out there, because women don't just go by themselves. Often they go with their kids. They are not just left alone by themselves, but they're often left alone with those children. Not too many men walk away with kids. They normally leave the kids with the ladies. So can you imagine the magnitude of what that is? Not just your case. So like what you went through, that means somebody is going through that in every street. Almost in every house, one woman is going through the same thing. That is madness. That is crazy. I don't know. I don't understand. Personally, I believe that There are some Christians that say you can never divorce. I don't believe in that. I believe, divorce, there are a lot of realities that are worse than divorce. I would rather advise somebody to leave the family, leave the home, rather than living there and tolerating all kind of abuses. So I think that it's actually better to be rather separated or divorced than to tolerate some things. But still, I can't understand. Personally, it's not clear to me what will make a man to leave the wife. I can't understand that. I don't care what she's done. I don't care how bad she is. I just can't understand what will make a man to walk away. Especially, and if you have even if you don't have children. But if you still have children, I just don't understand what will make that to happen. Because in my case, I've given her my word one day. So if I've given her my word, how can I even withdraw that? Now, I know life happens. Things could happen in life. But for it to be so many like that, one in every two. That is not just life happening. That is ladies' life being taken for granted, my dear. Because it is not the lady coming to the man to say, marry me. I'm going to enjoy everything. It is the man coming to convince the ladies that I will be there for you. I'm going to cover for you. I will never cause you pain. I love you. I will never allow things to happen to you. And after saying all that to a lady, then you walk away? No, you must be kidding me.
It's heartbreaking. It's horrendous. It's everything ugly, but so unfortunate that it's so real. It's so real. And you know what breaks my heart more? We teach our children that it's okay when we remain. We teach our children unhealthy ways to relate to each other as men and women. We teach our children to tolerate abuse when we remain. So not only do we damage ourselves, but we damage the next generation because our boys go and do the same thing. Our girls are trained to tolerate. And so we duplicate and we replicate a generation of, I don't even know what to call that. So it's just hard. And I had to make up my mind and say, for me, I need to stop this for me. And also I need to stop this for my children because I've got 2 girls. And I need to teach them that this is not okay. And I need to give them a different reality and using my example. So I had to do that. And that's a tough call and a tough decision to take because then you have to deal with so many naysayers. You go against the wind, but I had to do that. So in my mind, I failed to understand why what happened. And I'm a fixer. I'm a person who likes to fix things. So I get frustrated if I can't fix or resolve something. So I couldn't come to that place of closure. I couldn't come to a place of some kind of understanding because when you then take a girl, like I said to you, I kept myself. I was a virgin. I kept myself. I hadn't really, gone into like a serious relationship. And so it was heartbreaking and it affected my faith a little bit because I said, God, I kept myself, I had kept myself at that stage and I've done all the things that I should do. So I don't understand. I feel like I was shortchanged in this deal.
And then you marry the pastors. That is supposed to be the most protected place to be.
That is what I remember I was so mad with God for a while because I was like, this doesn't make sense. I didn't go into a club or into, somewhere where they were doing drugs to get a partner from there. But I went into your house. I kept myself. I did everything right. And I married one of your sons. So what's this? But that's the reality about marriage, that, our leaders, our pastors, they're human. And when they come home, you're not married to a pastor, you're married to a person. And so, you have to go beyond that. So that's one deception that needs to be cleared, that just because a person goes to church, or just because a person's a pastor, a musician in the church, or they no matter who they are in terms of titles, in terms of position, it has absolutely nothing to do with who they're going to be as a spouse, as a father figure. That's just titles and names. Get to know a person for who they are. And the best way you could do that is look at how they treat the people that are closest to them. How do they treat their mothers? How do they treat their fathers? How do they treat their uncles? How do they treat their children if they have any? Then you'll see, who the person for who they really are. And when you go through this series, this family series, literally, I designed a list. I designed a list for myself of what to sort of, check in a man. What to sort of check, what to check in a man when relating with a man. And so when I did that, I managed to write, for example, the series talks about maturity. Physical maturity. The series talks about, mental maturity, maturity as a person. It talks about so many things. Can they take care of themselves? How are they doing financially? All those things. We are taught and raised in the church not to question things like that. We are told that don't despise small beginnings. So if a guy's not working, it doesn't matter. We are told
that is catastrophic right there.
That is danger, because if a person, look at it logically and use common sense, if a person is unable to feed themselves and put a roof over their head, then how would they take care of a second person, and a second person who will potentially reproduce? So the math there doesn't work. So you have to check things like that. Go on, credit score check. If you've got a partner, check your credit score, check your credit history. I'm in financial industry now. Check your credit score, because that will tell you their financial history. And then you also open up and show yours, how they borrow, how they manage their credit cards, how they manage their banking. Very important, because it will tell you their financial history. There's no other way to know a person's financial history. Meet their family, meet their brothers, meet their sisters, see how they relate. Do they have conflicts? Do they not talk? Fly, go on holidays, go to visit the family, let them visit you, see whether a person is financially able to take care of themselves, visit their family. All those things are very key. It's not enough that a person prays in tongues. It's not enough that a person can quote the scriptures, because that's not what put bread on the table.
Now, there is a part of that family series. No, first of all, tell us how you broke it down. Can you tell us the breakage?
Yes, so the family series is lengthy. So there's that saying that says, if you want to eat an elephant, cut it into pieces. So that's what I did. So family series, I cut it into pieces. I divided it. So it's got a session for women. Okay, so section just for women. So that's mostly targeting women who, you're young, or you're still, before you get married, but it can still help you even if you're married. And then even after marriage as well. And then it's got a second part, which is for men. So young men before marriage and men in marriage. And then it's got the third part, which I've put aside, which is the parenting side. It talks about, from pregnancy all the way to raising your children until they're fully independent personalities. So I split it into those three categories, and I went one by one, just trying to take what I needed one at a time.
So let's start with a woman before marriage, because I'm talking a lot there in those series about what ladies should think about and how they should prepare themselves for life before considering any relationship.
Yes, so the chapters on just women, or the episodes in the series just on women, this is so practical. I from the depth of my heart, if you're a lady listening, I highly recommend that you take some time and listen to these messages. They're about an hour and a half each. And so all you would need to do is probably put a pair of headphones while you're doing the dishes, or, if you're doing your makeup in the morning. So you don't have to literally sit down, or you're driving on your way to work. You just need a pair of headphones. You could download them, burn them onto a CD, put it in the car on your way to work, listen on your way back. That's what I had to do because I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to sit down for 2 hours and do nothing else but listen. I incorporated it into my day. So incorporate into your day. So it will literally run you through the moment you're no longer let's say 15, 16, 17. I would say anyone from about 17 years old needs to listen to that. Anyone from about 17 years old needs to listen to that. 17 all the way to, I would say, 35. That's what I would recommend. It's highly important. It will walk you through being independent, okay? Being independent, being purpose-driven, having a mission for yourself in life, going for that, and being financially independent, which is very important, and having your own apartment, living on your own, managing finances, budgeting, and get yourself possessions like a car. Let your first kiss be from yourself. Mwah, kiss yourself. Let your first hug be from you. Let your first I love myself be from you. Okay? Let your first car be from you. Let your first apartment be from you. Let your first job be, by your own efforts and means, so that you take ownership of your life and you don't owe it to any man as a woman. So it will just teach you how to own your world and how to rock and work your world. And something I can take out of that is I managed to do that. I had started that process when I was younger, in my early 20s. So I didn't complete it, but now.
But you didn't have the help that time. You didn't have this material.
I didn't have this resource, the tools. I call that my gem. It's my precious gem, the family series, because it's got tools. All it does, it gives you a box of tools and you have to work them out. So it will help you build your financial life. It will help you build your career. It will help you build your independence and also your self-esteem. It talks about that as a young lady. This is without any man in your life. Without any man. You don't need a man. You just need you and to work at it. That's all you need. So that's what I can say about
that is making yourself whole before you meet a man. Because a successful marriage could only be built by two whole people, complete people.
Absolutely. It's wholesome. If I was to give an analogy, I would say a plate with your vegetables, your protein, your carbohydrates. It's full of all the goodness you need as a girl. As a girl. And don't even look at the goal as marriage. Just as a girl to get into this world and this race called life. And it will also highlight to you that marriage is optional. It's not mandatory. It's not something you have to do. It's not something you're being set up for. You're being set up for life. You're being set up for your future, not marriage. So that really, really is very loud and very clear. And there are practical steps as well of what you can do in those videos. So it's not just something you listen to and you feel good. It's something you listen to, you will feel better, but it will also give you tips of how you can practically do this. So that's what I love about that series. Every girl needs to hear it.
That series, that is the first, one of the first part of it about getting the girls ready. I got a letter 2 days ago from the US. Beautiful lady, beautiful, charming, awesome girl. And because she's so beautiful, somebody picked her up from Africa before she could even have a time or the time to settle with herself to do and go through this process that you are talking about now. And she told me, right now, I've been living in the US for maybe close to, 10 years or what, I forgot. With this, my sweetheart, and what I do every day is cry, 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 cry. So how important is this stage of teaching that gets you ready to be a whole girl, a whole awesome lady?
Pastor Sunday, from the depth of my heart, I'll be very vulnerable, very honest on this, because I just, tears are welling up in my eyes hearing that, because I know what that feels like. I've been there. we are prepared for school. Yeah, we go to preschool. We're prepared, we're taught how to drive. You have to go through training. You are taught how to draw. You are taught how to count. You are taught how to cook. You are taught how to do your makeup, how to dress up, how to take care of yourself as a girl. But you are never prepared on how to be, or how to pick a spouse, or how to pick a partner. There's no school, there's no material, there's no structure. If you go to the church, you're prayed for, or you're just told to come for counseling, 2, 3, 4 sessions, and that's it. They let you go. But there's no material or structure. Before I bumped into the series, there's no structure or material that walks you through the processes you need to complete before you can even think about getting into that white dress. There's nothing. So the first time in my life, for the first time when I bumped into this series, I found a tool that you can use to prepare yourself for life. And if you have come to that point and place in your life where you want to consider marriage, this is still a tool you can use. So my heart goes out to that lady. And if she is listening, you can turn your life around. This is so important, Pastor Sunday. You have no idea how many people are crying and weeping on a daily basis in the name of marriage. They're broken on the inside. Makeup is a quick fix. They look great, but inside they're broken. They've given up on their dreams. They used to be achievers. And it's mostly the girls that guys know are out of their league. It is these pretty girls. It's these girls who are educated. It's these girls who are young. It's these girls who are still finding themselves. So the typical guy who is likely to break a woman's heart won't go for a strong, independent woman who's achieved everything. No, they prey on the vulnerable, they prey on the naive girls, they prey on the girls that they think have potential to make money for them or for the family, but they can mold them and shape them. And unfortunately, most of the time, our women fall into this. So it's time to get education, to educate our women. The country I come from Botswana. That's a country in Southern Africa, and that's the country that's doing so well in Africa. That's the top African country. And where I come from, can you believe the government 2 days ago, they issued a document, an article on social media to women, and they made a list of things to look out for when they're dating men. They literally are trying to help people like the lady you described, or myself, by saying, watch out for this, watch out for this. They had to write an article or share on my page, and you can get to see, for anyone who's watching. But they're saying to women, look for signs. There are always signs that, a person is not okay. There are always signs. So it's older. What I would say is look out for gentlemen that are usually older. Not to say all older gentlemen are bad, but usually, gentlemen that are older, gentlemen that are not financially secure, gentlemen that are not really in good relationships with their family or people in their lives, and they like to keep a hidden and closed life. They're not open, and not everybody knows everything about them. Look out for people like that. Look out for people who want to isolate you from your family and cut you off, and like to make you into something that, try to mold you into what they want you to be. Look out for those signs. And if you see that, run for your life. Run for your life.
One other thing that this lady was mentioning, she spent a lot of time to also tell me that one of the most painful things for her was that because this man had been living abroad earlier on, he brought her to Europe, to America. But because he's the only one she knows, her life is all around him. But once he got her to that bed and to that apartment, his job is done. So, he comes back, maybe they begin to have children, and she's just sitting there taking care of those children. But what pains her most, as I understand, is that He's not hearing her. Her pain, her deprivations, her desires. He's just busy. It's all about his job and his ambitions and his goals. She's just like one of the shears or one of the, furniture there. Most important thing is that you are there, getting everything ready for me to do what I need to do.
That, to be blunt, Pastor, you're literally taking the words out of my mouth. This was me. 2 years ago. This was me. I literally was part of the furniture, okay? And like you said, this is how I felt. I felt like I was a maid. I felt like I was just there to take care of children and just, open up my legs at night. Sorry to be so crude, but I have to say it for what it is.
The reality of things, yeah.
That's just all there was. And then when you go out there, look pretty, look the part, and that's it. So it's a shell of a life. There's emptiness. You're so empty, you're screaming on the inside. But the button, the mute button is on, and your partner can't hear you because he doesn't care. This is what he wanted, and he got it. He was looking for a pretty flower, a young flower, a flower that will fit what he's looking for. So once he gets that, that's it, he checks out. And then I'm sure, I don't know this lady, but I can assume that she has to do majority of the work with the children.
That's what I'm saying.
This is another heartbreaking. So you're on your own. You're in a marriage, but you're absolutely on your own. You're as lonely as ever. You're as empty as ever. And you're crying every single night because it's a nightmare. You love your children, but you're in a nightmare. And the person can't hear you because they can only see themselves. They are working. They are fulfilled. They meet people every day out there. You're in the house every single day with the children. No one to talk to. No one to relate to. No one to give you a break. No one to let you go out, go and get a massage, go on a girls' night out, or what are your ambitions with, your studies or your career? There's nothing. You're stuck at home and you're just a maid/prostitute, and that's it. So that's heartbreaking. I can identify with that. I understand that, and that needs to change.
But then there is also in that family series a section, because what we are talking about, the men's side, for me, what I'm hearing when she was saying that about the husband, I'm not hearing that the man is bad. What I'm hearing is that the man is not prepared as well.
Absolutely.
He is not informed. He doesn't know what it means to be a man. And he doesn't even know what it means to be a lady. And what the desires and what the lady is going through. He is not informed. He's not been prepared. He's not been handed over. I mean, nobody has handed him a package of materials and resources like this, because in that family series that we are reviewing now, there is a section there for men as well, how men could get ready for relationship and for family. Can you talk to us about that a little bit? What are the requirements for the men?
For the men, it's so key. An analogy I'll give you is this. If you get a person who's of Chinese background and you get a person of African background, you put them together. Yes, they're human. Yes, they can relate to pain and love. They eat, they all go to the toilet. That's fine, that's great. But they do not speak the same language. So this is an analogy I can give. If you haven't mastered the art of understanding the other sex, how they communicate, how to reach to them, how to understand them, then, you lose the battle before you begin. So what I can say to the men is, it's very important to understand women. When we speak, we talk about, I'll give you an example. We talk about how we feel. So it's not because we are less of people or we are, dumb or it's just how we are made. We go more by how we feel. And men go more with their logic, so they go with the facts and they box up their thoughts. They don't, things are not connected. But with us as women, everything's interconnected. Sex spaghetti. So if you upset me now, You know, you want to talk about something in 2 hours. I'm still upset about that one, so that one can't move on. So if you haven't mastered this art as a man of understanding how a woman's mind works, you are going to be frustrated with that woman because you'll think she's emotional. She's too emotional. She's not logical. She doesn't understand. Or if you find yourself frustrated as a man and you think, your wife always nags you all the time, or your wife is always complaining all the time. Why are you complimenting her and not me? Why are you doing this and not this? I asked you to, because you haven't mastered that art of understanding a woman's mind and how we process things. So the series has practical tools and steps of how you can begin the process of understanding how the mind and the heart of a woman functions. It's God-given, that's what it is. So it's not, the goal is not to change a woman or to punish a woman enough for her to change. It's just to understand her and to embrace her and to work with her in a way that will bring the best results. So in the analogy I gave of a Chinese person and an African person, if you learn how to speak Chinese, you'll be able to communicate what you're trying to say effectively to the other person. So that's what the family series does for men. It gives you practical steps of how to understand women, what women want, what women are expecting from men in marriage, and then you can take those tools, take them home, listen to the series, get pen and paper, draft your structure, draft what you can do, draft steps that you can take, practical steps from the series, and your life won't be the same. I can guarantee you that.
Well, talking about this same lady, I suggested the same thing to her. And I told her, why don't you just go ahead and talk to your husband and suggest to him to begin to listen to this series? And of course, you know the answer.
I know the answer. No, thank you. Who do you think you are? You can't teach me. Who do you think you are? Are you the man now in the marriage? Who are you? You can't tell me what to do. You're just a woman. If you know everything, why don't you go and do it? I know the answer because you can't tell me anything. I'm the man here. I need to show you I'm the man. This is the answer. This is the answer. This is the answer.
But I don't need to tell you the answer. You are telling me the answer now.
That's the answer. I've been there. I've walked down that road, so I know the answer. What I can guarantee you, my brothers, speaking to the men, there's a beautiful place in life that I have come to as a person that I want to invite any man to get to. And that's a place of vulnerability. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is simply, if you've heard of the Truth series, that's another series that you could look into that could help you understand this. Vulnerability is just a place where you can be true to yourself. You can tell yourself the truth about you without any fear, without any barriers, any walls, and then tell the truth about yourself to your partner. And what I'm trying to say is, you need to sit down with your spouse and review your marriage. Are you going round in circles? Are you wasting time? Are you making progress? Are you happy? Is she happy? If you're happy, you're making progress, then there's no need to talk about this. But if you're frustrated, if you're struggling, if you're fighting, you're arguing, she's crying all the time, you're stressed out, you're looking for any reason to be out of each other's hair, those are clear indicators that something's not okay, and you need to address this. So you need to address this as a team. No one's the enemy. No one's the enemy. So you need to come together, apologize to each other, and look for tools, look for help. And I cannot stress enough the importance of listening to this family series and also mixing that with counseling. So go for counselors, professional people. I'm not talking about pastors. I love pastors, but not spiritual counsel. I'm talking about qualified
professional. Yeah.
Qualified professional, number one, and a professional who is specialized in that area. So don't go to a counselor who deals with bereavement, for example, because that's not their specialty. So look for a qualified counselor who's specialized in marriage and separation or divorce, and sit down. Lay it all down, pour it all out. Be honest, be true to you, be true to your partner, get that help. And as you get home, listen to this Truth series, and also, review people who have managed to turn their lives and marriages around. And you will be on your way to do some hard work that will bring results.
Well, as much as you are right with that answer, that is actually one of the reasons why this lady is mostly heartbroken, that she couldn't get the man to listen. So you are right about that one, but let me also contrast that with two other ladies that are on this platform and got their partners after they've met me. Not physically, but on the platform. So these people know me, and they know that there is a series like Family Series. So when each one of them, they don't know each other, they are just different people. When each one of them would tell me, "Oh, Pastor, I met a girl, I met a man, or I want to marry," I said, "Please go listen to Family Series before you say yes, I do." Say, "Oh yeah, I listened to one, I listened to two, yeah, okay, we will do it. I will do it." Then I say another thing I always tell them: please don't commit to that man, and don't even believe him until you've given him a test. And the test is this: let him listen to that Family Series also.
Oh, yes.
And if he cannot do that simple one, I'm not sure you got the right man. In each of these situations, these ladies have told me, one told me, okay, I will listen to it. But I said, what about your other guy? What about your man? Well, I would suggest to him, but I've said it, I've tried, but I don't want to force him, or I don't want him to feel uncomfortable, or I don't want I don't want to force him. Maybe he will get there by himself. Two of them, none of them insisted. They think I was too rigid. I was being too legalistic. I was being too pushy by demanding this thing. Well, so now this other lady is crying that she cannot even get him to listen. But then when I'm suggesting to other ladies to get the men to do it before, they don't want to ruffle the feathers. And then afterwards, they are crying just because of that. I want to hear your response to this.
I think, to me, straight away, the fact that you present a tool that could help the future union, or that could be beneficial. You've picked up something and you think, this is great. I think this will work for us. Let's take a look. This is before implementing. Just let's take a look. And if the other person is not willing not only to look or to consider what you are saying, or value the fact that you are pointing to something, that's an answer for me right there. That would be a no for me, because that tells me that this person doesn't value you enough to trust your opinions, to trust your decision-making power, to pick something and say, this could help us. And not only that, they're not willing. Their ego is not allowing them to review something that you think could be good for both of you, simply because it came from you as a woman. So that in itself just tells you it's a setup. They're showing you something that Maya Angelou said, and it's so important. That's Oprah Winfrey's mentor, Maya Angelou. And she said,
the famous American writer.
Yes, famous American writer. She said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the very first time.
Ooh.
When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. You don't need the second time. You don't need the third time.
Beautiful.
Once is enough. So the fact that the person cannot be, they can't sit down with you and review something that you think is of importance, you've got your answer right there. Because tomorrow, when you come and say, I've seen a house, should we buy this house? The response is automatic. It's automatic. You're going to get that and more. So that is a clear indication that that's a dead end right there.
Doesn't it appear to you as if the ladies are afraid of losing the guys?
Sometimes, just from what you've said to me, I can assume that these people are of African background.
Yeah.
Why I say that is because we are raised and told or taught that men are the decision makers.
Okay.
Men are the deciders, and as women, you should be quiet, should be seen and not heard, almost like children.
Okay.
So you can't really suggest something to him as a man. So some of them, it's not that they've tried and the guy said no, but just the thought and the act of trying to suggest something that may bruise his ego or tame his ego or rough him up a little bit. They're just afraid to do that because we're raised to believe that, you can't have a tough decision about something with a man because of his ego, and you're a woman, so you should to be seen and not heard.
Oh.
So sometimes this is the problem.
Okay.
We need to get beyond that. We need to get beyond that because if you look at it objectively, you're going to be married to this person, right? And you're going to talk about the most difficult, the most personal things, and you're going to push each other's buttons. So why not start now? Why not have conversations now? Why not rough each other's feathers now and see how that works? Because that's automatic. That will happen in marriage. So sometimes it's this mindset and background that's very important. Something I can add, it's very important in the example you gave, the lady who is in America. It's very important when we are from Africa and we move to the diaspora. And sometimes there's that temptation I find in some of our men to try and replicate the culture, African relationship culture, in a first world country with a girl who's lived in a first world country. That won't work out. That won't work out. I come from a background where my mom and my dad call each other on first name basis. I come from a background where if my father's wrong, my mom would tell him that you are wrong and this is not right. So I grew up, and that's very normal where I come from. So when I then put myself in that position where I was with someone where in their culture it's not acceptable. I'm from Southern Africa. I was with someone from West Africa. And that was, it's basically disrespect or an insult or rude to do that. So you fail before you start if you pair yourself. So it's very important that if you're picking a partner or you're considering someone, look beyond love, look beyond the feelings, look at the background. There's a topic that you covered, I think on a Ask Pastor Sunday, it used to be called, on marriage. And you talked about the importance of marrying someone who has a similar background as you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that it then limits the number of challenges you have to face.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I was in an intercultural marriage. We're from different countries. So apart from marriage, that presented a problem in itself. Number two, we had a 10-year gap. I was 10 years the junior of my former partner. So that presents a problem because it's a generation gap.
Yeah.
So you need to review things like that. Look at age, look at background, look at nationality, because you need to learn so many things. So review all those things. And it's not enough that you all come from Africa or you've lived in the diaspora for a while. Put all those things in context, research, listen to this series. It'll give you steps on how to overcome that and how to avoid those mistakes.
Now, I personally was trying to tell these ladies that if I didn't look at it from the way you just told me now. Thank you for explaining that. It could be that the ladies are not bold enough to suggest. Because I'm not thinking about Africa background. I'm used to working with just the white people here,
Right.
and I don't have that factor. So I never put in that factor at all. Because here, girls, boys, they just, they're the same. They just don't care, I mean, nobody thinks you are, that's very strange. It doesn't even cross my mind that the lady will be quiet. So I never thought that could be a reason. But listening to you now, I now know that, yeah, you're right with the Africans. But what I thought was happening was that I thought that the men were just simply unwilling to put in the sacrifice and to put in the effort to prepare before marriage. So I was trying to tell them, hey, ladies, look, if this guy is not ready before you marry to invest, you might even need to postpone the marriage and take time to invest quality time for preparation before you enter. Because once you enter into that marriage, you will not have time anymore. So, because I was trying to tell one of them, like what I did with Pastor Boss, with my wife, when we met for 1 year, I mean, there were no resources, like no internet at that point. So we had to go and order and look for books. I had to go and research and look for books, bought a copy of those books for myself and a copy for her. She was living in another country and I was living in another country. So we bought copies of books so that we will be reading at the same time. So today we are reading this book, and then we are on phone discussing what we have read. Besides that, we were also fasting twice a week. Every Tuesday and every Thursday, we were not eating and just dedicating to our future family. So I'm just saying, to listen to tapes and cassettes is so easy. You are not even fasting or anything or even reading. And then we have to do that. We did that for a year.
Wow.
Before we could go ahead with the marriage.
Wow. Wow.
So if somebody is telling me I cannot go and sacrifice listening to this series, I mean, that is, they don't just know how much work is in marriage. Marriage is so demanding. That work of listening to those tapes will be like going to the park for a walk.
Woo! Marriage is like an oven. You get baked, you get tested, you get pushed. It's not a place, it's not a play park. It's not a play park. Yes, we see the sweet romantics of walking, into the moonlight, the pictures after the dress, posting on Facebook and the likes and the hearts. Yeah, that's great, but that's probably not 0.1% of the real deal. Marriage is work. Marriage is dealing with forgiveness. It's dealing with issues. It's dealing with someone who's coming from a background with their own baggage. You've got your own baggage. Marriage is work. So apart from, finances, the home, the children, the logistics, it's just work to be with another person in the same space and do things together for the rest of your life. So you need to give it your all. It's like an examination of your life. You need to read as many books. You need to listen. Do it for your dear life. You need to read as much as you can. You need to interview a lot of couples as much as you can. Sometimes just take time off. Go and live with a married couple for the weekend who have got small children, like 1 and 2 small children, and just see what it's like. It's a lot of work. Put yourself in that position. Learn and see it for yourself. It's a lot of work. So you need to give it your all. You need to put your all because it's a lot of work. So what I can say is, if you are going to walk into marriage lightly, without much research, without much work, without much steps, you are going to get the same result. Nothing much from it. You get what you put into marriage is what you get. So if you're going to put 0.1% of studying, reading, interviewing people, talking to couples, you're going to get the same result. So it's very important. Talk to people who are divorced. Talk to people who failed. I have learned the blessing of talking to people who have failed, because growing up, we always taught to, look for people who've succeeded. And that's good. That's very important. But also look at people who failed so that it can remind you, or it can help you to learn from their mistakes, and you don't have to then go in and make your mistakes to learn from mistakes. So it's very important. Talk to people who are single mothers, single fathers. Talk to people who grew up without parents or who grew up in a broken home. Talk to people who've remarried 3, 4 times. Talk to people who are unfaithful to their partners. You learn so much. You need to give it your all. Listen to the series over and over. Listen with your partner. Take notes. Review your relationship. It will bring out pointers. It's like you are putting your relationship into your surf and you're surfing it out. And all the impurities or all the things that could be obstacles will come out in the open. So please don't walk into marriage lightly. It's not enough to have developed physically. It's not enough to have finished your studies. It's not enough that you are pretty or you're a handsome man with money. It's not enough. You need to do a lot of internal work, and you need to search the other person and check. Do checks, financial checks, personality checks, family checks. Check everything about this person. And if you can get to a place where you can answer all those things in your sleep and you can say okay, then you are in a better position to consider marriage. After you've done the check on yourself and you've done that check, now speak to people in your family, your parents, your sisters, your brothers. Let them do checks as well, because they will be able to see areas that you can't see. Your parents are older, they've been there, done that. Let them check the person. Go on holidays together. Even if you're dating, let him come, let him fly to your family, because that will show you whether he has the financial power to do that. Because you want to take children on holiday in future. So if he can fly himself to see your family, there you go. So, fly over, see his family. Oh yeah, see where he's coming from. There you go. So if you go to his home, yes, go to where he comes from. Go and see where he was born. Go and see where he lives. See the condition of the house. So if the house is in shatters and his parents live in a broken home, if you can't take care of your parents, how much more me, a stranger? That's
this
impossible.
Is what experience does to people, what you are doing now.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
You are talking with so much authority.
I was burnt. And I'm not ashamed now to say that I was burnt. So I make sure that any girl I meet, I need to speak this to them. I need to tell them my story. I need to tell them my failures. I need to tell them where I struggled. I need to tell them what it took to rebuild my life. And I need to tell them how difficult it is to now rebuild your life with children. So I need to use my life as a storybook to the women, to the men, to say, please, I don't wish what happened to me on my worst enemy. So I will echo it. I will forever stand on a mountain and share my story, because as long as it can save a girl or save a man from falling into this, I will shout it louder. So it's very important. It's important to check every single thing. Check it for dear life, because you don't want to bring in children into the mix, and it's just going to be a roller coaster when you do that.
You are so truthful. You are helping so many people right now. You can't believe it.
Wow.
And I want to use this opportunity to tell everybody that is watching us that there are a few books. Can I see the books that we have here that will help you? I have this, I'm excited about this particular book. Am I ready to be a wife? Or am I ready to become a wife? Those are the checklists for a lady that will help you to answer the question. You need to answer the question to yourself. Am I ready to become a wife? That is that book with the gown, with the white gown. Before you enter that gown, that white gown, before you enter that white gown, make sure you answer the questions. That's number one. Then you have another one there, which is called Living Sexually Free. That's before you marry, living sexually free, even after. Then you have another one, Understanding and Overcoming Masturbation. Then you have another one, Heavenly Climate in the Family. That's, you need to read all that before you get in there. and so that you know how to build that heavenly family in the heavenly climate in the family. Then you have these how to create core values in your children. You also need to get to read that before you even begin to have children. Then you have this other book here, Don't Touch Me, the Drugie. Don't touch me, I am hurting. I'm hurting. So that is for those people who have divorced. And for those people who are not just, maybe not even through divorce, you have been abused or any form of pain, how to address it and begin to bring healing to yourself. And then we have this other one which says, successful marriage takes work. So that tells you about the areas where you need to work on yourself. And then there is another one that talks about false or true understanding of love. So how do you know false love, true love? How do you differentiate between the two? So that book is important, not just for love in marriage, but love in general. How do you know love? How do you know if it's a true love? How do you know if it's false love? That's about that one. And then you also want to, just go ahead and listen to that series. That is a big series, the biggest series we have on YouTube. It's called Family Series. You know, you'll be blown away. I mean, this lady, she now told me that she's listening to that. I mean, that is our so-called right now, because that's our deliverance. That is, she just says, I just get to listen to that, and I still keep on crying, but at least I see, you know, I'm learning so much. I'm just rebuilding her life all over again, even though she's already in trouble, but at least she got a place where she could start from and to build her life all over again. And I also want to encourage everybody that is watching. But by the way, you know, we released a book last week. That book has just become a bestseller on Amazon this week. So I want to I want to congratulate everybody that has bought this book, who will attend your funeral. It has become #1, the hottest selling book on Amazon in that particular department, that particular category. So I will see if we have the photographs of those books now. But so, you know, the book is Who Will Attend Your Funeral. It's about, you know, re-examining your life and you know, taking an inventory of your life and how to live in such a way that so many people will be so grateful to you and they would like to attend your funeral because they are happy that you have contributed so much to them. Yet, numera, okay. Now, this is it. You see, Amazon hot new releases. #1, check out the #1 is Who Will Attend Your Funeral, Sunday Adelaja. That is #1, ahead of any other book that was released. So new release in the area of education, philosophy, social aspect of life, we are #1. We are #1. So issue of Taro, yes, and you see, this is the same book here. You see, it's written there, #1 new release, #1 new release book on Amazon. So that's it. And so, but I don't know if we will still be able to receive any call. If anybody would like to call or contribute or ask a question or thing or so. But you know, we've had I have so many other questions I would have liked to ask Pat, because so many things in that series, so many things, so many things to talk about. And she is so engaging and she's so truthful. This program is going to liberate so many people. In fact, I've just retitled it, Life After Divorce, the Family Series, because, you know, this will heal so many people. This, even though our time is almost over, and I'd like everybody to also know that in the next 30 minutes, I'm coming back on to talk about the series that is going on right now, High Yielding Lifestyle versus Low Yielding Lifestyle. And if you have not yet registered to come for History Makers training in Ukraine, the next one is going to be in February, from the 2nd to the 7th of February. Just write a letter to HMT History Makers Training, HMT, at godembassy.org, godembassy.org, Begushe Straka. So if you write there, you'll be able to get all the information about how to attend the History Makers Training. To read all my books, you know, there are so many books there. You can read all of them for free, actually. If you go and register for Kindle Unlimited, you could read them for free, or you could buy them on Amazon. But if you want to buy many books at the same time, it might be easier or cheaper for you to write to my office here and buy them. You just write to dssbooks@gmail.com, dssbooks@gmail.com. If you have not yet joined my mentorship program, please go ahead to sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. If you need to receive our messages on a daily basis, send us your telephone number to our WhatsApp number. Our WhatsApp number is +38 098 596 3838. So if you write your SMS to us, we will be able to send those messages to you on a daily basis. Well, Pat, what would you like to say to people? We have sorry. Before I talk to Pat, I think somebody wants to talk. Do we have a caller right now? Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Noeline, I thought about you today. I thought about you, and I decided to allow calls to come in because I thought maybe Noeline is watching and she might want to talk.
Yes, I can see myself in this woman.
Wow.
I can see myself in the lady that I wrote to you from America.
Yeah.
I can see myself just sitting there telling you exactly the same thing.
Wow.
First of all, if I'm to be a president or to be a leader who has authority to make a decree or make a law, the first law will make that every man that wants to marry, we have to get a certificate on training about family.
Training, beautiful.
In Africa, the man does not know anything. When I mean anything called marriage, they just know, oh, I'm of age to marry, and my mother and father want me to marry, therefore I have to marry. They have no clue of who a woman is, or if the other person is a human being. Unfortunately, the lady is just talking about check. You can only check in Europe and the Western world. You don't have any room or opportunity to check anything in Africa because there's no system in Africa for you to check. I was told that the Bible has no manual, therefore marriage has no manual. My uncle told me that if your husband tell you to stand outside while it's raining, that you have to stand there, that when you get sick, it's him that will pay the hospital bill. I told him, I'm sorry, sir. This body is mine. This body is mine. It's nobody's body. So if you ask me to stand on the rain, I will ask you to stand there, let the rain beat you. After beating you, you go to hospital. For me and my body, it's not possible. Then I become a mad woman because I said that. So people want to tell you what a Bible or what human being cannot even think of, just for the sake of marriage, for the sake of you being obedient woman. So the training in Africa, there's nothing called training. Unfortunately, the Bible said a man finds a woman. If a man that finds a woman finds a good thing. I think that statement, a good thing, went to African mentality to make them think that a woman is a thing. A woman is a seat. A woman is a bucket. A woman is anything you want to call a woman, just for you to define a woman, but not a human being.
Good point.
Until they are trained to know that that person you are looking
Good
for
point.
to be a wife is a human being.
Good
that
point.
Has feeling, that have blood flowing in her, that have system that can break down. Those training need to be given to African men to understand what a human being is first. before understanding what a woman is. No matter how a woman prepares herself, and the man has no clue of what you are doing, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know the type of prayer that will bring that man to know what a human being is.
Wow.
So that's what women are suffering in Africa, because the so-called men who want to tell you, I want to marry you, has no clue of what marriage is. The Bible said, write a vision and run with it. They have no vision. They have no clue of what vision is.
Mm.
Because if they have vision, a man asks me, what do you want to do? I say, I want to go to school. I want to get education. He told me, you don't need education. I said, God bless you. See you later in heaven.
Beautiful.
So it's a thing that when you look at your past, you think, I wish. Unfortunately for us, the European world is even destroying life more than any other thing. Because it's only when I came here that somebody can tell you that he can live with anybody, anytime. Nobody cares. There's no moral. There's no conscience anymore to say that you have to live with a man or a woman without marriage, and it's okay. And you call it partner, and you call it a friend, and you call it, now it's legalized. So, and this concept now is going back to Africa. So that is where the problem and the greatest problem.
Wow, strong, very strong, very strong.
To stop, because if I continue, I don't think I will stop. This topic is just like somebody touched me and touched me from my brain to my toe. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Noeline. Thank you so very much. Strong point, strong point. Very, very strong. What do you say to that, Pat?
I send my love to her, and I feel her pain. I was just fighting tears listening to her. I couldn't understand everything. The sound wasn't very great, but what I did pick up from it is she's crying the same tears, and she's talking about the same pointers and problems which I highlighted.
Yeah.
There is a problem in our African culture where we believe that women are raised to correct and mold men and put up with behaviors that are unacceptable. Yes, and we are praised for that. When you do that, you are actually praised for being a virgin.
Wow.
Yes, because you're a woman, you're a mother.
You are talking like Mayowa right now.
That's it. Part of your job is to mother and mold a grown man.
Wait a minute, Pat. It's like we have a caller now. Hello?
Hello, sir. Good day, sir.
Can you speak to your microphone? Speak louder, sir.
Yeah, this is Jeff.
Jeff from...
Can you hear me, sir? From
Yes.
Manchester.
From Manchester. How are you, Jeff?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I've been following this.
No, speak into the microphone, please. Make your device be near you, near your mouth.
Hold on. Just hold on.
Don't use Bluetooth.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I've been following today's discussion, and I've been it's been very, very interesting and very informative. I just need to ask a question, and that's to you, Pastor Sunday.
Yes, please.
Hello?
Go ahead, sir.
Now, at the early stages of the discussion, you were talking about that you told your daughters not to really consider marriage at this stage. That,
yes.
In fact, it shouldn't be a primary consideration.
In life at all, yeah.
Yeah. And that it should be somewhere, but it's not something of consideration that they should have.
Yes, sir.
But also, I remember you talking about, some time ago, you were talking about the man's inherent quest for sex.
Yes.
Remember, yeah. And that God made the man so that for the purpose of procreation.
Yes.
Yeah. And because it's an old series, but I listened to that.
Yes.
And if I have to relate that with what we're discussing today, now, if everybody comes to that consideration where they shouldn't think about marriage,
yes,
then if everybody have that mentality that, marriage is not important, that we should just think about our visions ahead, what about the purpose of procreation that God demands on this earth? Because if the same mentality cuts across, then it impedes that agenda of God. Don't you think so?
I do. But let me explain that to you, sir. Now, the thing is that with procreation, God has already taken care of that and reproductivity. And the way God took care of that is that God made procreation or to be built into us as an instinct. There are two basic instincts in life: survival instinct and reproduction. Reproduction instinct, that is sexual instincts. So survival and sex. So we are driven, either you like it or not. There will never be a time when all humanity will come to a place where they say, I don't want to marry, or I don't want to consider, because people are mainly 97% of humanity don't think. For you to get to that place to say you have to consider everything we are talking about, you have to be a thinking person. You have to become Homo sapiens. You've got to subdue instincts. And you've got to be a man of the heart and a man of the mind. And only few people are able to do that. But majority of humanity, they are driven by their instincts. So what we are discussing right now is to be able to get at least a few from that ocean of humanity that is just driven by an instinct. We want to awaken a few. And that few that is awakened, they are the ones that will now direct the rest of the people. And the rest of the people will now follow better example. But really, many people will keep on reprocreating just because it is an instinct. And that is why what they talk about, that now people are living without marriage, now they are cohabiting, now it's become law. Why? Because people will make things happen just to get the instinct going. But somebody has to teach at least 1% that will know that no, instinct is secondary, must be subject to reason. That reason has to be stronger than instinct. So that is what we are trying to do right now. Hello? Okay, I think he got it. Yeah, what will you say about that, Pat?
I will refer to the first caller who said she's going through the same, and she mentioned the comments about Africa, the mindset and the mentality. I think that should be challenged and that should be changed. Women's job or role in marriage is not to mother their husbands or to grow up the little boys in them. That's not a woman's role. You need to partner with the whole person and your whole, and then you can have a wholesome marriage. That would be my first response to the lady.
It could be a woman's role, but that is your mother's role, not your wife's role.
I love this.
And your wife shouldn't take the position of your mom.
And then if you happen to find yourself in that position already, and the awakening happens after you're inside it, there is something you can do about it. Teach your children a different truth. Teach your children a different truth. Prioritize yourself. Review the relationship. If you need to get out, get out. If you want to stay and do the work, do the work. But do not stay in a relation that is toxic and that will destroy you and destroy the future generation. Second response to the gentleman, thank you for calling. It's nice to hear a gentleman's point of view. I didn't hear everything, but what I understood from what I heard due to the sound is that, he's talking about marriage and not marrying and, the future procreation. What I can say is it's much better, in my opinion, to have 2 out of 10 couples married and doing the right thing than have 9 out of 10 married and going the opposite direction. It's about time we focus on healing and on prevention rather than a cure. We need to stop the problem and nip it in the bud. Forget about marriage, forget about children, focus on you, on God, your relationship, your future, your purpose, your calling. that should be priority. You need to come first. And then only after you've succeeded repeatedly, succeeded with your finance, repeatedly succeeded to manage your temperament, succeeded to relate with people in your life, you've succeeded the art of relating to men or women, whoever you are, whatever gender you are, then you can start to consider marriage. And it's about time we make marriage optional. It's not a priority, it's not a mandatory thing. It is an option. You can do it or not do it, and it's okay. My former president, African president, was single, and he's still single until this day. Wow. He's in his 60s. He led our nation. He did so well. That's why we're the top country in Africa. That's why we're doing well. That's why we have zero corruption. That's why we are doing well. That's why we're doing well with diamonds, with beef, with cattle. That's why we don't need visas to come to the UK. That's why we don't have so many problems in our country. That's why Prince Harry engaged his wife, Meghan Markle, in our country. That's why her diamond ring is from our country. That's why we're doing well. I'm not bragging about my country, but I'm stating facts.
You should. Your country is number one per capita in Africa. Yes, your country is number one and is one of the highest. Your country's standard of living per capita is higher than half of the countries in Europe.
And it's an African country.
Yes.
So this tells me, when I look at my background and where I'm coming from, and my parents are married from different countries. So my mother doesn't cook. My father cooks. When my father visits me, I put my feet up, I get my coffee, and I drink it.
Beautiful.
And my dad is cooking. So we need to break that cycle. Break that cycle, sir. To the caller, I didn't get his name, but what I can say to you, sir, in response is, please, as a gentleman, focus on you. Build yourself. Your purpose, your calling. Build your world. Be the man that I can look at and be like, I want that man. And give me the chance to prove myself and to work on me so that I can.
We need to get this girl back. You need to continue this program. We have a caller. Hello, who is calling?
This is Ben Najebu from Aberdeen.
Ben, how are you, sir?
Yes.
Nice to hear your voice today.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make a little bit of contribution.
Yes, sir.
I think when it comes to marriage, men actually in Africa have different kind of orientation. I, for one, have been married for 28 years. And I remember when I got married, I was purely maybe about 20, an only child. So I kind of pushed into marriage. Although I have a fairly good understanding of what I was going into. But the orientation is always this, that the man is playing a role. The man is the head of the family. And that make it a role and not a relationship. So most of men always think in terms of a role. And once you are into a marriage and all you do is to play a role and not relationship. Every marriage that is built purely based on relationship, it becomes friendship. It will become, you'll be able to understand your partner. And it took me a while. What I just want to tell to some of our sisters that are listening, if you are married to a man and you are going through rough times, sometimes men are slow starters. They learn slowly. It takes them a while to begin to understand. It took me a while to be able to understand my wife, to understand sometimes that when she speaks, I need to drop everything and pay her, give her 100% attention. Just know what she's saying. Sometimes before then I used to, when she's talking, I'm doing something else. Oh yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, I'm listening. And then she will say, are you listening to me? What did I say last? I can't even recall. But just minor little things could help, Well, the most important, like I earlier said, is the way we were brought up. You are the head of the family. Your word is the final. And once we get into marriage, we pivot into that instead of going towards relationship. If you marry to your friend, anything she does, you will accept it because she's your friend. Don't always see your wife as, oh, I am the head of this home. My word is final. And I think that's where the problem we have as African men.
Ben, you are so brilliant. What a brilliant contribution. Wow. Wow.
If we're able to do that, that will help. And understanding, as I said, understanding is essential between both men and women. If both of them could understand each other, it takes a while. And the man will be able to find his feet. I used to say, my wife can see problem 100 miles away, but it took me a while to break out of my pride to accept that my wife sees things that I cannot see. She can identify every business deal I have ever been into that fell through. It was because I didn't listen to her. She can see it 100 of miles away and tell me this one will work. But I was I don't want to listen to you. So just patience is all I can say.
Beautiful. You are very experienced.
Yeah.
Very experienced.
Forgiveness is also a kingdom lifestyle. Let's just embrace it. Forgive one another, understand one another, appreciate one another. If you are passing through a difficult situation, it might turn out to be like mine. I'm enjoying my own wonderfully well, but it wasn't like that from the beginning. God bless you all.
Wow,
as
Ben,
you just listening to
Ben,
this.
thank you for the wisdom. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. Precious word. You know what? Let's go and share this message. I think we need to share this message. Share it with as many people as you can. You know, just spread the word. This message is going to set a lot of people free. I think we still have a caller that wants to contribute before we go. But you have a lot of books out there too. You can go and read them for free on Amazon, on Kindle Unlimited, or you could go and get them on Amazon, or you could write to our office here and by writing to dssbooks@gmail.com. But if you have not yet registered for the History Makers training that is coming up in February from the 2nd to the 7th, go register by writing to hmt@godembassy.org, because you could still have some discounts now if you register on time. Okay, so let's see. Do we have a caller still? Okay, yes, we have somebody trying to trying to contribute. Let's see if we could get that person now before we move on. Actually, this is getting very interesting because we are like half an hour behind the time. Our time was out a long time ago, but it's so interesting that such a pure program. Anyway, let me talk to you, Patty Narayezuk. What would you like to say, Pat, before we go to everything that I've been already spoken about today?
What I can say is to people who are not married, to people who are still single, to people who are single and searching, to people who haven't put on that white dress or given that girl a ring and gone on a bended knee, please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Strong.
Stop and check yourself. When you look at you, do you see a person that you want to be with? Well, if you can answer that question honestly, your finances, your mind, your psychology, the way you relate to people, everything about you, your faith, everything, the projects, your purpose, your mission in life, everything. Are you on top of your game? If you're not, why do you want to give another person, what do you want to shortchange another person for? Stop. Sort yourself out. So that would be the same thing I would say. Why would you want to partner with someone who hasn't found themselves, who hasn't mastered that out? So I would highly recommend anyone who's not yet married, please listen to this series. Just go through it. 119 videos, an hour and a half max each. All you need to do is plug in and listen. Give yourself 6 months. Go through this series, vet yourself, vet your partner, put it down on paper, assess yourself, write a test from this series, and look at that answer. Look at that answer. It will tell you everything you need to know. To people who are in marriage and are in trouble, you got into it, so you need to work it. You need to work it and own it. You need to do it for you and those children. And that does not mean staying in that marriage. It means doing the work. So either you work and stay and make it healthy, and if you can't, get out. It's as simple as that. Either you're in it and you build healthy, or you get out and you build healthy outside. Do not compromise with that. Because the Word of God talks about how God wants us to be healthy, even in our mind. He wants our souls to prosper as we prosper. So it's very important that you take care of you, you do you, and you succeed at doing you. So if your marriage is not promoting that, come out and build that on the outside. Is life after divorce even a better life? According to Pastor Bosse, and I'm living proof. And then to anyone who is also struggling with parenting, family series, we didn't get a time to go into that, but it also covers parenting. It talks about how to raise children. It goes stage by stage, what you need to do. I've got 2 girls, they're geniuses. And I'm telling you, these girls are just going to be great people. So it gives you practical steps and tools with parenting. So please engage this series, make it part of your world. Your life will not be the same.
Pat, you are just so brilliant. I can't believe it. You are just so brilliant. You are just so brilliant. You are delivering. In fact, I'm afraid you might need to become a psychologist or a family psychologist or consultant or something. You will help so many people because you are speaking the truth. You are not sugarcoating anything. I just don't have anything to add to this. I don't have anything to add to this. The only thing I could say is that we've got to get her back. Thank you for coming today. Share this message, and let's bless the world. Thank you. We'll see you in the next 15 minutes. I'll be back with high-yielding lifestyle versus low-yielding lifestyle. See you in 15 minutes. Peace.